Hi, 5338 and Dr. Hightower. I'm going to try to answer both parts of this accurately. I'm going to be looking at my notes too to try to make sure I don't miss any parts of it. So after I read the quote, I really had to sit and think about it for a second. And what came to my mind is that all of us teachers, we have enough education. Most of us have been in the classroom long enough to where we have all the tools within us to successfully teach all kids. But I think that the second part of the quote about how we feel about the fact that we haven't so far, whether or not this is right, this is what I thought about, is that the body of knowledge is really endless. I mean, we know certain concrete things, but we all can learn more. And it can even be incorporating, tying lessons from the curriculum in schools to real world problems or life skills. I mean, it's endless, really. So I said that knowledge is endless. And also, if you think about it, every year and sometimes every semester, we have new students. And so it's really important to not get in that rut when we're teaching the same thing over and over again, to remember that we don't have the same students. And we have to be fair to all students to make sure that we're keeping that passion about us to where we're not slacking, because, we're people too. We get tired. We have our own set of personal challenges going on sometimes. And so I think it's important to just always remember that knowledge is endless. And that we always have new students, a rotation of students. And so we have to stay passionate, and we have to sometimes actively work at that. Like I said, we're people too. We have good days, we have bad days. And so that's how I kind of approached the quote. Now, that's my opinion on successfully teaching all children. Okay, wait, well, that's not that part. Okay, so the video part one. Okay, so that's how I feel about the quote. Digesting the quote, there's my opinion. Describing the biggest single obstacle. I'm sorry, that's my school bell. I think that the single biggest problem is that all children learn differently. We have kids, or in my classroom, I have kids that can look at an outline of a paper and follow like words, and then sometimes I have to make like graphic organizers with pictures. Just all, in general, all students learn differently. So differentiation for me is the hardest, because I already modify everything anyways. So every time I get like a t-test walkthrough, half the time I get a developing on differentiation, because I don't have like a little group over here to the side doing something different because they're lower, because all my kids mostly are low. So they all learn differently. To me, that's the biggest obstacle. So getting up in front of a class of 20 kids and teaching in a way that everybody can understand is challenging, I think. Okay. So I've answered that part. Now, according to chapters 4 and 5 of Best Practice, if I'm looking at myself and my motivation as a learner, a time when I have been inspired to go beyond a learning objective, really, and I'm not just saying this to be saying it, I'm in an English class. This is my last semester of graduate school. And I took a linguistics class, and I have never taken linguistics in my life. I have never transcribed like IPA and all this. Totally new, okay? And I'll be honest, one reason I signed up for it is because it was one of the only ones offered online. But when I got in it this semester, I realized that I'm actually learning something new. And, when you've gone through as much education as we have, and I teach English, it's hard to have like a new concept about something. This is new for me, and so I have really kind of embraced it because I thought, this is going to just make me smarter and more knowledgeable about something that I didn't know about. And so we have to write this final paper, and it can be about any dialect in the United States. Well, I picked a Cajun French dialect, and so that's what I'm going to talk about as far as my experience. And I chose something that's totally new to me. I mean, it's totally foreign because I want to learn more. And I related this to the concepts in the book of, number one, helping students find real purpose to real audiences. Okay, so the way that this relates to that is that Cajun dialect, Cajun French is dying in southern Louisiana. And I think it's sad. I think anytime like a cultural, you know, they say like when language dies, so does its culture. Louisiana is so rich in history and culture. And so I'm trying to get to the point here and express myself the way that I'm seeing it. Basically, my paper is proposing that this Cajun French be taught at a lower school level than just in college, because the big universities in Louisiana teach it. Schools don't. And there's some grade school kids that cannot communicate with their grandparents because of the gap and because of how, you know, basically when America bought Louisiana, they outlawed everything except English being spoken in the early 1900s, and with that, now it's dying as far as the language. Okay, so to me, that's helping me find real purpose to a real audience to reach. I'm trying, basically my position is, hey, you guys need to bring this back into grade level school because it's affecting, you know, communication between people just within the state of Louisiana and age differences. Okay, and so second of all, teaching grammar mechanics in the context of actual writing. Perfect grammar. I hold myself to a really high standard as far as when I turn something in, I think that it represents who I am, and we all, even though we're all grad students, we all make mistakes, and I think that it's really important, and Dr. Hightower's helped me remember this too. You know, you're a grad student, you kind of got to figure it out on your own, and I think that by my experience in this is that I'm really a perfectionist. I'll go over something 10 times before I turn it in. So I hope I related that properly. I'm already at 7 minutes. I'm going to let y'all go. But I hope that this thoroughly covered every part of the video that I was supposed to touch on. And yeah, so there you go.